What's good, Fit Friends? It's me, Migo D, and welcome to our channel, Fit Friends. In this week's episode, it's going to be a very special one because this week we'll be talking all about shoes. So the question is, what is the best shoes to use when you're weightlifting or in a gym? Now, there's a lot of ways and avenues to tackle this question, so we'll be talking all about that in this week's episode of Gym Wear and Gym Etiquette. So the number one question that we have to answer first for us to know which shoe will best impact your performance for the better is, what exercises do you usually do in the gym or anywhere else? Is it more on weightlifting, CrossFit, more on cardio exercises, probably some functional training? Is it powerlifting, Olympic lifts, everything else in between? We have to answer first which one is your main training mode for us to know which shoe is the perfect fit for you whenever you do train. Alright guys, here you go, basketball shoes. So I see a lot of people wear basketball shoes in the gym. Now, there's not really anything wrong with that, but again, as we've touched on earlier, it really depends on what kind of exercises that you're gonna do in the gym. So if you're gonna do, let's say, powerlifting, CrossFit, some Olympic lifts, personally speaking, even if you're just gonna do some bodybuilding movements, I think that basketball shoes aren't really the best choice to wear for your training. Let me tell you why. So usually, basketball shoes have a very thick sole, and they also have a very dense heel. So the reason why they do that is because, of course, as you may know, basketball is a high-intensity sport. There's a lot of athleticism involved in doing basketball moves and basically doing it for long durations of time. So basketball shoes really have to protect the impact of the athlete's foot to the ground. So when you're weightlifting, powerlifting, or bodybuilding, those kinds of movements, you want your feet, the sole of your feet, to be as close to the ground as possible. The reason why that's important is because the closer your feet is to the ground, the more stable your movement's going to be. So you're more stable and you're more safe whenever you're handling heavy weights in the gym. If your feet is closer to the ground, you can apply and use more force whenever you're gonna do your exercises. But if you're going to do, let's say, some cardio moves, probably some calisthenics, I don't see any problem using basketball shoes. The next shoe that I always see in the gym is usually lifestyle shoes. These are usually labeled as the hype shoes or whatever kids call them these days. So let me explain why wearing lifestyle shoes may not be the best choice for, let's say, if you're doing weightlifting or powerlifting or Olympic lifting. So as we've discussed a while ago, usually, not all of course, but usually lifestyle shoes also have very thick soles, such as this one, and also some of them have very weird soles, such as this one, wherein this one has air in it, which looks pretty cool if you ask me. But in terms of safety and force production when you're going to be lifting weights, it may not be your best choice. As we discussed earlier in wearing basketball shoes, it's not good to have your feet so high off the ground whenever you're doing some weightlifting or heavyweight movements, because it decreases the force production that you can do in the exercise. So what exercises do lifestyle shoes benefit most? Honestly guys, I think that lifestyle shoes are really good if you're going to be doing low intensity, steady state cardio, where you're basically walking in the treadmill or doing some low impact cardio movements. So this is where lifestyle shoes basically shine, because they're designed and made to be worn ng matagal. So it's going to keep your feet as snug and comfortable as possible while not killing your toes of doing it in a long duration of time. Okay guys, now let's talk about the best shoes that you can wear while training. Shoes just like Vans, Chucks, and Onitsukas are best for weightlifting. As you can see guys, especially this one, this pair of mine is really old already. As you can see, it's already beat up and it's already well used. So I've been using these babies for a while now whenever I do train in the gym, because they are the best when you're doing some weightlifting, bodybuilding movements, also some powerlifting movements as well. So as you can see guys, the sole is very thin, so your feet is very close to the ground. As we've discussed earlier, you can use more force whenever you push off the ground, whenever you're doing an exercise. Also, you're more stable because you're closer to the ground, therefore mitigating injuries when you're doing training. Next is for high intensity training, such as, let's say, jogging or functional training. For me guys, you can also use the flat-soled shoes such as the Vans, Onitsukas, and Chucks. But personally speaking, based on experience, after a couple of minutes, let's say around 40 minutes of doing some high-intensity interval training exercises, sometimes I get blisters from these kinds of shoes. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not good to wear. They're very good to wear too, but just keep in mind that that could happen. That's why I suggest, if you're going to do movements such as those, I would be using some more flexible shoes that are still stable and close to the ground, such as the Metcon of Nike. So there are a lot of cross trainers and weightlifting shoes such as Metcon in other brands as well. But for the purposes of this video, we'll talk about the Metcon first, okay? So the Metcon is really great because it's somehow a combination of flat-soled shoes that are very close to the ground, and running shoes. So as you can see, guys, the Metcon is also very dense in its sole, but not too dense such as basketball shoes or lifestyle shoes. It just has that right balance of thickness and closeness to the ground. So you get protection whenever you do some high-intensity interval training, running, jogging, such as those. And you get the stability and the force production that you can usually only get with shoes that have very thin soles. Also, if you notice, guys, if you check the heel of the Metcon, the part here in the middle, the arch part of the sole is super dense. I think that this is the hardest part of the sole here in the Metcon. So the heel is dense, hard, but it also has a bit of give. So is in the front. So it has that flexibility that you get from running shoes, so that you can do a lot of, high intensity interval training exercises such as those, but also the stability and force production here in the middle, wherein it's very rigid, stable, and it's very safe for you whenever you do some heavy weightlifting or bodybuilding movements. By the way, there are more specialty shoes for weightlifting or powerlifting actually. I've tried some of those before, although I don't have any physical samples right now, but I have tried them when I was weightlifting. So if I can just try to make an example here, usually squatting shoes or powerlifting shoes, their heels are elevated a bit and they're very dense and tough in their sole. Kind of the same vein as Metcon's arc sole here in the middle. So the best thing for weightlifting shoes or powerlifting shoes is that they're really made for that specific movement and they're really made for that sport. So those shoes are, technically speaking, the best shoes for powerlifting and weightlifting for me. But again, if you're a casual or intermediate gym goer or weightlifter, wherein you go to the gym not only to lift weights, but you're also doing some sort of cardio exercise, I think that the best choice for you is either the Metcon, or again, if you're in a budget, the flat-soled shoes such as the Vans, Chucks, and Onitsukas. And that's it for this week's episode. If you enjoyed the video, why not give us a thumbs up? And if you like this kind of content, why not subscribe and hit that bell so you're always updated whenever we upload a new video. And if you guys have other suggestions on future content, comment below and let us know. As always, it's me, Migo D, your fit friend, reminding you to always eat your protein. Till next time, bye-bye!